Tension with India is at the highest level. How you see and evaluate Pakistan Air Force?
Readiness of Pakistan Air Force is concerned, we in Pakistan Air Force draw our inspiration from our forefathers.
Our own government a few days back said that there is a very strong possibility that India may strike. What is holding India back? So, what is your assessment? Do you think they are going to strike or they are just building up pressure?
Prime Minister of India has given the authority to Indian Army Chief to undertake the action whenever it is suitable. Indian Air Force, Army, and Naval Chiefs, they must also be making an assessment that if we do this thing, what is going to be the response? That the response is going to be quid pro quo plus plus. It is not possible that they do a small thing and there is no response. There has to be a response.
Nukes, missiles are traditional attack. What we are fearing from India?
Type of warfare has changed. In 65, 71, and later even, the wars used to be for weeks, maybe if not months. Now the warfare has become very fast, swift.
What measures are taken to protect the bases from enemy attack?
The threat assessment is always a continuous process. We can visualize what type of attacks that India can do to our bases and other important installations. And I feel that the most important and most likely could be the cyber attack.
Where, in terms of response, overall three armed forces of Pakistan stand?
We have been confronting India 65, 71, Kargil, etc. with the same ratios. So from wherever, whether they use artillery, they use air force, they use naval powers, inshallah, this 1:3 is going to overpower 3.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in B News English. Dear viewers, the current security situation between Pakistan and India is lingering on. Despite provocative actions from Indian political military leadership, Pakistan is exercising restraint. However, Pakistan has made it clear that it will not escalate the situation. But in case any eventuality is carried out, any war is imposed from India, then Pakistan will not be responsible for escalation, and India will be responsible for such escalation. During such situation where there is high military tension, Pakistan Army, Pakistan Air Force, and Pakistan Navy are in full professional preparedness. Every moment, the clips and the content we are receiving from Pakistan's inter-services public relation that shows that Pakistan Army is in full professional preparedness, holding exercises. Same is with Pakistan Navy and same is with Pakistan Air Force. Among these all three forces, Pakistan Air Force holds extraordinary position. Back in 2019, when India carried out strikes against Pakistan inside in Pakistan, Pakistan Air Force the very next day gave a befitting response. In today's conversation, we will evaluate, discuss, and analyze that 6 years later, where Pakistan Air Force stands now. What is the latest technological advancement that Pakistan Air Force has achieved? And India claims that it has some of the best, latest missile system from Russia, which are known as anti-aircraft missiles and which can destroy any fighter air jet. On the other hand, Pakistani Air Force is also professionally capable, state-of-the-art technology defense system, and is ready to give a befitting response to India in case of any eventuality. To discuss this on, we are fortunate to have with us Air Vice Marshal retired Naseer Wyne, who has served in Pakistan Air Force for 4 decades and held top senior most positions in Pakistan Air Force. Currently, Air Vice Marshal Naseer Wyne is serving as Director for Air Power, Studies at Pakistan Air Force, a very prestigious think tank, Center for Aerospace and Security Studies. Naseer Wyne Saab, very warm welcome to Program Insight in V News English. And we will begin with this that since 2019, it's almost passage of 6 years. And again, tension with India is at the highest level. How you see and evaluate Pakistan Air Force?
Assalamu alaikum and Mateen sir, thank you very much for having me in your very insightful program. Before I come to the point of the readiness state of Pakistan Air Force, let me define that what has happened now that after a gap of 4 to 5 years, all of a sudden, India is again venturing into the same situation as it was in case of Pulwama attack.
Exactly.
So, to tell you frankly, we are living in a region which has many unresolved issues. And if I look at the 3-4 objectives which could be there for India, some of the analysts say that it could be due to the great power struggle in which India and Pakistan are the players. The second Indian objective of doing this false flag operation at this time could be that they want to tarnish the image of Pakistan. They want to show Pakistan as a terror harboring state. And in the bargain, they have done this false flag operation. The third possible reason could be that they want to renegotiate Indus Water Treaty and want to have control of waters in their hands. And the fourth probable reason could be that they are looking for a permanent seat in UN since very long, and this could be one step towards that direction. Now, coming to your question, as far as the readiness of Pakistan Air Force is concerned, we in Pakistan Air Force draw our inspiration from our forefathers.
True.
And Air Marshal Asghar Khan, Air Marshal Noor Khan were the fathers of Pakistan Air Force. The way they have taken up the initial days of Pakistan Air Force, all the Air Force's chiefs, they draw inspirations from them. And every Air Force chief in its tenure tries to bring the Pakistan Air Force a notch higher than the previous one. And when this 2019 incident took place, while India made some inductions in the case of Rafael, etc., Pakistan Air Force was also not sleeping. They had also started making preparations. And when we proceed further into this discussion, we will elaborate it more. But to tell you now, in the last 3 to 4 years, the number of inductions that Pakistan Air Force has done to achieve those capabilities which are befitting to its stature, they are enormous. And these are in terms of platforms, air defense radars, cyber, EW, etc., etc. And perhaps the Indian Air Force in particular, must be doing that evaluation that our government has put us into a catch-22 situation. And we are confronted with an enemy which is so potent. Despite being smaller, they are so potent that they are actually into a catch-22 situation.
That's correct. As you said, that over last 3 to 4 years, Pakistan Air Force has carried out a number of advanced technological and defense developments and improvements that makes it fully capable to give any possible adventure from an Indian side. So a lot is being said, as I spoke in the beginning, that India is quite proud of its Rafale jets. And recently, there have been a near line of control. The Rafales were detected, but later on, after alerts or the warning shots from Pakistan Air Force, these Rafales ran towards their bases. So, give us a professional, crisp, to the point assessment. India is so much proud of these Rafale fighter jets. And we have latest F-16s, we have JF Thunder 17, and JF-10 as well. So please make a quick comparison of Pakistan's Air Force latest fighter jets, their capability, while comparing it with Rafales?
Um, Mateen sir, whenever we are comparing to air forces in particular, there
Hmm.
are few benchmarks that we have to keep in mind. The first amongst them is the early warning, that how much early warning that you're getting, because it is directly proportional to the response that you generate. If you get an early warning much more, so it will be easier for you to take action promptly and to the point. So we have enough early warning systems available. The second thing is overall capability.
Hmm.
Rafale is only one platform. When we compare the air forces, we look at the overall capability, that that platform, how much mature that platform is, how what is the training of the pilots, engineers, logistic guys on that platform. See, we are operating RF-16 aircraft since 1983. So look at the number of years that we have operated. We are operating JF-17s since 2007 onwards, and now we have J-10s also. So look at the amount of experience that our pilots and
Hmm.
engineers have on these platforms. Number one. Secondly, we have made some very important. While we have already discussed in last 4 years, there have been enormous inductions, but there
True.
is an element of indigenization also in that. So,
Hmm.
with the help of our friendly countries, we have made some enormous capability changes, due to which, if I don't want to go into the ranges, etc., but to tell you very frankly, whatever range the Rafale aircraft has in terms of its capability, the capability today is the radar beyond visual range missile that the Rafale has slightly less than 100 kilometers range. And
Less than
Alhamdulillah,
100-kilometer range.
less than 100 kilometers. Even if they induct, there are news that they have inducted Astra missiles also, uh, uh, which have been made by DRDO. Just to give you a rough figure, we have an advantage of about 100 kilometers with their capabilities. So that is the problem with them. Number one, they don't want to put them close to the line of control, because it will be a very good profit for us if we take out Rafales. So they'll be reluctant to use it. And the second important point why they will be reluctant to do is that we have the first shot capability, where we have an advantage of almost 100 kilometers to shoot them before they come into those ranges where they can shoot us. So this 100 kilometers is a very big thing. So keeping the um, experience in mind, keeping the capability of the radar and the missiles in mind, I don't foresee Rafales figuring out very much in the if there is a conflict or there is a skirmish.
That's true. So it doesn't matter a lot. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan Air Force has much better, much state of the art capability. And you very rightly said it's not only the Rafales, there are trainings, equipment, system, and these all things. Now, coming to you already mentioned about early warning system. No, a question being a defense analyst and a security expert and a former top officer of Pakistan Air Force, it has been almost more than 10 days. And our own government, a few days back, said that there is a very strong possibility that India may strike. First, there was a statement by defense minister, followed by another statement by information minister 3 days back. What is holding India back? Why India is so silent, not announcing, not giving any details? So although Indian Cabinet Committee on Defense met with the Indian Prime Minister Modi in the chair, and it has given all powers to three forces. So, what is your assessment? Do you think they are going to strike, or they are just building up pressure?
This has become a very interesting question. Will there be a strike or there will not be a strike? That is why I highlighted those three, four objectives of India for
That
conducting
they
this
wanted
false
to
flag.
sit in United Nations Security Council. They wanted to get control over waters. Very truly.
And now they have upped the ante so much that they are answerable to their masses. that if you
Hmm.
have hyped the situation so much, what are you doing? So, in my opinion, India would first try to put political and diplomatic and maybe economic pressures onto Pakistan to achieve those objectives that we discussed earlier. And should those all the pressures that they put in, if there is no such significant result, perhaps they'll be forced to do some kinetic actions. But
Hmm.
as you have already mentioned, that the Prime Minister of India has given the authority to Indian Army Chief to undertake the action whenever it is suitable. With all respect to the understandings and the analysis power of our Indian Air Force, Army, and Naval chiefs,
Hmm.
they must also be making an assessment that if we do this thing, what is going to be the response?
Hmm.
So, fearing that response from Pakistan, perhaps they are also in a catch 22 situation. Uh, like we have discussed, that capability and training is very important for all the armed forces, especially in the Pakistan Air Force.
Hmm.
Another overriding thing is the type of leadership that we have at this time. You know that the intelligence guys, one of the most important thing for them is to make an evaluation of the leadership of adversaries. And they must also be making the assessments. And they know that the type of political and military leadership that we have at the moment, perhaps earlier on, we used to do a quid pro quo, that is a proportionate response to whatever that they do. But this time, they have very clearly stated that the response is going to be quid pro quo plus plus.
Quid
So
pro
all
quo plus
these
plus.
things must also be plus
Hmm.
plus, not plus plus plus.
Yes.
So in that context, as I have given a lot of respect to their analysis of the Indian Army, Air Force, and Naval chiefs and their intelligence guys, so they
Hmm.
must also be making that assessment and finding it very difficult to do some action. It is not possible that they do a small thing and there is no response. There
Hmm.
has to be a response. And this time, the government has very clearly said, I have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister who has actually said that we are ready to participate in any neutral investigation.
Exactly. Even
So it is a
even.
big offer. It is
Hmm.
a big offer that the Prime Minister has made. But he has also made it very clear that should there be a situation, we are going to respond. So
Hmm.
I think they will also be making these assessments.
So, being a former Air Vice Marshal and you held top positions, there is a very close proximity between air power and the nukes. So, at this time, a lot of analysts are warning, analyzing that both countries, India and Pakistan, are nuclear powers. And any small or any minor skirmish at this moment, at the time of the high tension, can trigger a nuclear war as well. So in 2019, at that time, we heard that India was all set to fire a missile towards Pakistan. So, how much is your assessment as a Pakistan Air Force former top official that this time India can resort to this extent, can carry out a missile attack, or whether it will confine only to some airstrikes that we are listening that certain Pakistani areas have been identified. So nukes, missiles are traditional attack. What we are fearing from India.
Uh, Mateen sir, the type of warfare has changed.
Hmm.
In 65, 71, and later even, the wars used to be for weeks, maybe if
Hmm.
not months. Now the warfare has become very fast, swift.
Hmm.
So in that context, if the war or a conflict is going to be very swift, it is
Hmm.
understandable that two nuclear capable countries,
Countries.
if they
Hmm.
go into a conflict, there is always a possibility. So I think that is where the Indians should understand, and the world should also make them understand that the possibility of a conflict, what to talk of war, is not there amongst two neighboring nuclear capable nations. I sincerely hope that uh, the sense would prevail and we would not go into a small skirmish as well. But as I've told you, the warfare has changed. That possibility could come very, very quickly even.
Strong defense, Air Vice Marshal Naseer Wyne Saab, that depends upon strong economy. And Pakistani people, Pakistani government, despite shortage of resources, have given all the financial resources to three armed forces of Pakistan. It could be Pakistan Army, Pakistan Air Force, and Pakistan Navy. When we talk of Pakistan Army specifically and Pakistan Air Force, in the war against terror in South and North Waziristan and at certain places, both forces were together. Pakistan Army got the support from Air Force, which carried out strikes against terrorist hideouts and destroyed those, and ultimately achieved the target of making that area peaceful. No specific question is that over the last many years, as you have said, that Pakistan Air Force has been going through transformation. So, do you think that the as far as economic situation of the country is concerned, that situation is providing that economic situation is providing all the resources which Pakistan Air Force required because it is a huge force, technological advancement, changing technology, and collaboration with China. GF Thunder is, of course, joint collaboration between Pakistan and China. And of course, when we talk of F-16, these aircrafts were acquired from United States. And over last many years, there have been certain obstacles in getting some of the spare parts. So, sometime lack of resources or something like that. So, question precisely is economic resources vis-a-vis our defense capability, particularly Air Force.
Defense procurements are a costly affair, especially for the Air Force. And you have rightly pointed out the economic situation of the country. That is why each penny that Pakistan, the people of Pakistan, through the government of Pakistan, spend on the armed forces is very critically monitored, evaluated, and only those critical purchases are made which are important for achieving a certain capability that we have discussed. So rest assured that all the inductions that have been made very sensibly. And I made a slight mention of indigenization also.
True.
So through the National Aerospace Technology Park, which has come up, one in Islamabad, one in Lahore, and more
That
are
is
coming.
state of the art. I've seen it, really, out class.
You have seen it. So you just cannot imagine the amount of work that is being done there. If we had to buy an equipment of, say, $100, by virtue of this indigenization through these type of parks and technology parks, we are actually spending a cost of 20 rupees, maybe 30 rupees. I'm just giving you a reference, just to satisfy the masses that the money, the taxpayers' money that they're spending on their armed forces is very critically and very sensibly, maturely being used.
And very honestly,
And
exactly.
that is why today, when this situation comes up, people have that faith in their armed forces that they will be able to protect them, not only protect them, rather teach a lesson to India should there be a situation in that sense.
That's correct. And another thing is, you have also definitely all three armed forces have their security directorates. Pakistan Army has civil aviation. Pakistan Army has aviation division. Most of the military aviation squadron, and Pakistan Air Force has number of bases. Similarly, with Pakistan Navy, they have fleets and things. Actual point is how to ensure the security of our bases. So, at this situation, what type of, I will not ask you to share some classified strategy, but do you think, as a defense analyst, as an expert, that our bases, because whenever there is tension between two countries, there is always possibility of an attack on the bases. So, what measures are taken to protect the bases from enemy attack?
The threat assessment is always a continuous process. So the stakeholders in each armed forces and all three armed forces together, they sit down and carry out a comprehensive threat assessment. So I don't know exactly because I'm out, but out of my experience, and an open source analysis type, what I can say is we can visualize what type of attacks that India can do to our bases and other important installations. And I feel that the most important and most likely could be the cyber attack. So I think the first thing is that we have to protect our assets. And don't want to go in those details because sometimes there are few things I know about the capabilities, but rest assured the amount of defensive and offensive cyber capabilities that we have, uh, inshallah, there should not be any problem. The second could be the
So,
physical attack.
please continue.
The second could be the physical attack. So Indians know that we are already facing some challenges due to terrorism. So our safeguards against the physical infrastructure is already in place. The only thing is that keeping this situation in mind, it will be slightly beefed up more. So as regards our installations and the security of cyber in terms of cyber is concerned, rest assured that the things are in safe hands.
That's a very good thing that the things are in safe hand. I will just put up another question on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not only of our defense forces, armed forces of Pakistan. There is a proper cyber command force, if I'm not wrong. There have been cyber attacks on civilian websites and system of government of Pakistan as well. So, what specific things are intact as far as Pakistan Air Force is concerned to counter any possible cyber attack from Indian side? Because as you mentioned, this is one of the most new and latest type of warfare that in case of any cyber attack, it could paralyze the entire system. So, do we have relevant technology, cyber preparedness, so that we can save our bases, aircraft system, control and command system from any possible cyber attack?
When there is a peacetime and some cyber attack is conducted, for example, on the banking system or any other system, uh, even not on the military systems, it is difficult to point fingers at somebody that who has done it. Though there are now means to find out from where that cyber attack has come. But you cannot officially declare that this cyber attack has come from that side. But when we are in situation as we are these days, that is called heightened tension period, we know that from where this cyber attack would come. And we have the right to respond. This cyber is such a thing that you have to take some defensive measures and take some offensive measures. Without going into the details, I have also already told you that rest assured that we have very competent people looking after our defensive and offensive cyber capabilities. It is such a subject that where more discussion will
Yes.
it's not suitable. But I can assure
I
you.
do understand you have given a precise answer. I will go to the next point at this time. Of course, Pakistan is proudly producing these fighter jets F-16, and to some of the countries it has sold. I would just like to seek your analysis as far as the capability between F-16 latest aircrafts and GF Thunder 17, and the latest one is this GF-10. So, do you think in the longer term, Pakistan will go on this Chinese technology, GF-17 or 10, and whatever modern aircrafts, and as far as F-16 aircrafts are concerned, of course, those are very, very expensive, and current state of economy doesn't permit to procure or get the latest aircraft from United States, and there are political reasons sometime as well. So, comparison between Chinese-made GF Thunder, GF-10, and F-16, which are continuously being changed and upgraded. Why so?
I will keep the political aspects aside.
True.
And just to give you an example, uh, Indian Air Force is now inducting some European and American equipment after having used the Russian equipment for almost 70 years. Pakistan Air Force started using the US equipment right in 60s, also inducted Chinese equipment in late 60s. And then onwards, it has been maintaining a balance of Western and Eastern equipment. To tell you very frankly, I've flown both Eastern and Western platforms.
System.
When you switch from one to another, there is an enormous experience that you gain. There are some very good things in Eastern systems. There are some very technologically advanced things also in the Eastern systems. And there are some different technologies in the Western systems. So, Alhamdulillah, the PF pilots and engineers, they have an experience or variety of the systems, which the Indian Air Force realized very late. And now they are going for a mix of East and West. There is no comparison. JF-17 is above or F-16 is above. It is the capability. As I've told you, there are two capability. It is the capability. You put that missile and a very good radar on any platform, it will perform. It will become a capability. So, regardless of East or West, capability is the must.
So, lastly, we are moving closely to the last portion of the program. So, as you said earlier, that all three armed forces, Air Force power is also necessary, imperative. Similarly, Pakistan Army, military armies, ground forces must also up to the mark. And of course, a country like Pakistan, which has huge coastal line, a strong navy is also necessary. So, in case of any eventuality, as you also assessed, and the government is also assessing and alerting, in case of any eventuality, it could be, as we said earlier, it could be missile attack, it could be some air force attack, where in terms of response, overall three armed forces of Pakistan stand. That how strong response it could give to India.
India is a bigger country. We might have 1:3 ratio in favor of India. But you remember that 1:3 ratio was there in Battle of Badr also.
Wow.
So we have been fighting, we have been confronting India 65, 71, Kargil, etc. with the same ratios. So from wherever, whether they use artillery, they use air force, they use naval powers, inshallah, this 1:3 is going to overpower 3.
So last one sentence, how you see about the in the age of artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, where is the future of Air Force?
The hallmark of Air Force is adopting to new technologies. There are two very important things that the Air Force has been focusing last maybe more than a decade, and this effort has accelerated in the last 3 to 4 years. One is satellites, and the second one is harnessing the emerging technologies. In emerging technologies, it is not only the artificial intelligence, all new technologies which are coming up, because combining these emerging technologies together, they result into a capability.
And human resource as well?
And human resource also, because it all starts from the human resource. You cannot buy artificial intelligence off the shelf. You can have a know-how, but your own engineers will have to develop. And we have very, very good institutes within the NASTAP, which actually are working on this. And we are inducing artificial intelligence into every capability that we are developing. And alhamdulillah, it is being done indigenously.
Thank you so much, Air Vice Marshal Naseer Wyne, for giving very insightful analysis of the current air power of Pakistan Air Force, overall defense analysis, where Pakistan defense stands. And dear viewers, he has made it clear that what come may from any side, Air Force, Navy, military, Indian side, any attack, if it is carried out against Pakistan, India will get, despite 3 times bigger than Pakistan, will get a befitting response. Thank you so much once again. At this critical moment, despite busy schedule, you participated in our program and highlighted some of the most strategic aspects of the current tension between Pakistan and India. Dear viewers, till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.